Welcome back to another Cooking Around the World with Iramu Community Centre, shot from home during COVID. Today we're going to do a recipe that's something that I've been doing for many years. It's a really simple Chinese dish, very yum, yum. But it's so simple to do. It's a black bean and garlic pork fillet. As you can see, I have the pork fillet here. I've done a little bit of trimming just to clean up a little bit of the, just little bits and pieces to get off it. Don't have to go too hard on it. It will be in the oven for 20 minutes, so a little bit of external fat will get burned off. But one thing you do have to get rid of is these sinewy pieces. You see the sinew on that? To do that, I use an extremely sharp, it's my little Wiltshire knife, and this one is sharpened to kill. So one slip and I'm in trouble. One slip and we could go to edit. So what we do, as I said, I've removed all the little bits and pieces. This is like a little edge fillet of it. That'll get chucked in also. The little scraps will go to my little buddy down here. But I'll show you, all you have to do is get the tip of your knife under this the sinewy bit. He knows what's going on up here. Okay. As you pull, just slice along, just remove that sinewy bit. Yeah. One little bit more bit here. Because this does, the sinew bit doesn't really burn away at all. Yeah. And that will remain quite tough if you don't remove it. And the cat will keep annoying me if I don't remove it. Okay, what I'm going to do now, probably a little bit big for our tray, cut it into two parts. You see over in our tray over here, we're going to do this to a piece of salmon also for our camera operator Jackie, who much prefers the salmon. So, oh, he's back already. Good. Right. Now what we do first, I'm going to take a little bit of sesame oil. I will write up a recipe and put it online with the video on this, but I've been doing this for so long, I genuinely don't even worry about a recipe with it. Now what we do is just drizzle on a little bit of sesame oil, and then just rub it in. He's putting on a good show today. Now, here you go, push. Yeah, look, give him one. leave me alone. Now, we take...
Gobbled that up.
This is the Lee Kum Kee brand, which is available in supermarkets and Asian stores. It's a very common brand. There are other brands. I saw one of the other brands had exactly the same thing. It's just black bean and garlic sauce. Remember the old beef and black bean at the Chinese restaurants years ago? That was one of the main dishes you got, beef and black bean. Well, this is black bean just mixed with garlic. So the black bean actually will give it its saltiness, and just the smell out of this bottle is amazing. Just splatter it on.
No, not too much on the salmon.
Then we just, as I said, this will give it flavour and its saltiness. This is a real tester for the salmon. I've never tried it with salmon before, but I can't see why it wouldn't work. I've done tandoori salmon before. That was something that I did for an Indian dinner party once, and to start off I bought a few big slabs of the salmon steaks, and more people turned up than what we expected. So we just cut them into long fingers, rolled them in a mix of tandoori paste and yogurt, slapped it over the top of these salmon, threw it onto the barbecue, and that stole the show. That was an absolute winner. Something else you can try sometime. Okay. Now, you see that the depth of the garlic and black bean paste I've put on that. Looks like there are some big lumps in there, but you want to get a bit on because as you slice through it, remember there's only going to be the little outer edge of black bean and garlic on it. You don't want to add too little, otherwise you'll barely taste it. You don't want to be silly and go over the top because it is a bit salty. And now, to finish it off, Chinese 5-spice. And I just sprinkle a bit of 5-spice over the top of that. This adds another depth of flavour to the dish. It's beautiful. I love Chinese 5-spice anyway. There we go. Not too much for you, Jackie?
No.
There you go. And just finish off with a fine little drizzle of sesame oil. I'll do the other fillet also and pop that in. We'll get that into the oven, about 180-degree oven, for about 20 minutes. That's all it requires. And while you're doing that, while that goes into the oven, I'll start prepping up to do just going to put a vegetable stir fry on the side, which we'll film that. I'll show you how simple that is. I'm sure we can all do a vegetable stir fry. We'll plonk that on a bit of rice, and we're going to use a good old Jasmine, the microwave rice, because there's only 2 of us here and I don't want to be making a huge batch of rice, but that's up to you. We'll pop this in the oven for 20 minutes and then we'll come back. Okay, here we are. We've just taken the pork out of the oven, and when I take it out after 20 minutes, it's just still slightly pink on the inside. We just rest it for 5 minutes and I'll cook it through. Don't cook it too hard or too long, otherwise the meat will dry. Remember, it's a fillet, so there's not a lot of fat in it and it will dry out. So just 20 minutes at the most, 120, 180 degrees. Take it out. If you cut it, it will still be pink. Don't panic. Rest it for 5 minutes and it'll be fine. And that'll just give me time here to show you what we're going to do. A very quick stir fry. I've got about a 1/4 cup of water. I'm going to add a heaped teaspoon of corn flour. Just make a slurry out of that. Just stir it in. And that'll help thicken up our sauce. Now, you don't want a big gluggy sauce for this. By no means, this can't be a gravy. We just want to thicken the sauce up so it's not runny. Okay, 2 cloves of garlic. Quick chop of them. Now, very quickly, we're just going to do an onion, but I don't want it chopped fine. I'll show you what I mean. In Chinese restaurants, you notice it's always like the onion's always in wedges. It's not cut down into dices. It's just cut into wedges. You can get the skin off it. That's it. Under the cat. Doesn't like that. All we do is cut it through like that into large wedges. As simple as that. We'll put a little bit of oil in the pan. I'll just use rice bran oil. You can use peanut oil or whatever your favourite is. Some oil in there. Get our onion into it. Get it all in. Get it all cooking. Now, we want the onion to be slightly, not raw, but just barely cooked. We want a little bit of snap and a bit of flavour in it. Unlike Indian or Italian or a lot of dishes where you cook the onion right through. Get the garlic in there. We're going to quickly chop up a few veg. A peel this, top and tail it. You know why we cut them why they cut them like that on a slight angle, they don't roll off the board.
Did you just make that up?
I think it's actually true. It makes sense, doesn't it? The bits don't roll away. Cut them in little rounds and they all roll off onto the floor. It actually gives them more surface area when you're wok cooking, gives you more surface area to cook. Because these just cook very quickly. That will go in. I'd normally have all these prepared and just chuck them in as we go. But I just wanted to show you the method I'm using. That onion's almost at the point where it needs to be right now. I've just cut some cauliflower just into little thin slivers. Remember, we don't want any long cooking times here. So cook them into thin slivers. Try and make sure everything reaches the sides of the pan. That's the curvature on a wok, is to get as much surface area, the food onto the surface area of the pan as possible. Now, back to our sauce. At the moment, just water and some corn flour in there. I will add, just get behind you and check it on that. A tablespoon of, this is just Chinese cooking wine. You can use sherry if you don't have Chinese cooking wine. I normally, myself, I use a dry sherry. Tablespoon of soy sauce. These can be altered later if you need any more. We'll also add some oyster sauce in a moment. Now I'd normally do this with oyster sauce, that's sesame oil. I'd normally use oyster sauce with this, but I don't have any, so I'm going to use, hang on, Jack, we've got a choice. Plum sauce. I did have another one here, or this Chinese barbecue sauce, char siu. Plum or char siu?
Not plum. That's jam.
And that's the way it goes. I'm going to add this straight to the pan because it's quite loopy. A big teaspoon of that. So I normally have all this prepared and I'll just go in one thing after the other to make it a really quick cook. This should only take 5 minutes generally. Give it a quick stir. I'm making a small stir fry here, just for the two of us. Right, in with our sauce. You just decide now how much you're actually going to use because we don't want this really gravy-y. I might need to add a bit more water to that. While that's happening, we'll just chop up some spring onions to go in it. That can go in. And I'm also going to add a handful of bean sprouts. And these will all cook down as we stir fry it. And that's it, that's all that's going in there. I'll taste it and just see if it needs any more. We don't really need a huge flavoured dish here because there's a lot of flavour coming off that black bean with the pork. That's the black bean, remember, is a salty ingredient. Add a little bit more of that. So that's only about a quarter cup of water, tablespoon of each of those ingredients being soy sauce, rice wine. I'll give it a quick taste here and just see if I need anything else. Oh, that's big enough, and it doesn't need any more. That's thickening up quite a bit. I'm going to add a dash of water to it. I don't want it to be too thick. And that's what the corn flour will thicken it up for you. As simple as that. All this dish requires. Okay. Quickly. Turn it back. That's done. Just have a look in here, Jack. Just see, there's not a lot of sauce in there, and it's not just really runny, and it's not too thick gravyish. All I want to do is just to coat those vegetables. Now, here's a nice piece of pork. The cat's going to cough in a minute. And we just cut a few slices of that. Just blush, just a tiny touch of pink. By the time that gets to the plate, that'll be cooked through. But it's still really moist and tender. As I said, the biggest mistake here is if you cook it too hard and dry it out. Just whilst we're doing that. With it from in there, Jack. Just very quickly do some the microwave rice. You can see the moisture still coming out of this. That piece of pork fillet, which is about it's just under 500 grams, that'll probably feed, because you just give everyone a chunk like that, half of that each. So that would feed 3 to 4 people, because you do remember it's a salty dish, a lot of flavour, with some vegetables on the side with the rice, and it'll be absolutely spot on. What I'm going to do is collect a piece of salmon with it.
Oh.
Ah, it had an incident. Okay. Gonna make 2 plates, eh?
Leave it.
Cat didn't like the gravy. Just had a little spill down here. Okay. Should have shown him the flood. Just a wee spill. Yeah, it's just as hot. Righty-ho. You want more rice than that?
No, that's fine.
Okay. So this is salmon with the garlic and black bean. Here's the pork. Presentation's not going to be hot here. Luckily the food is. Oh, getting messy up. I serve the vegetables on the side. How much vegetables?
I'll just put it on.
You can chuck it off as soon as we stop filming, Jack. Get rid of all the healthy stuff. A couple of carrots for you.
Yeah.
Right. Here we go. Beef. Sorry. Let's start all again. Pork with black bean and garlic sauce. Salmon with black bean and garlic sauce. And stir-fried vegetables on the side. In this case, what do we end up putting with it? Char siu vegetables, Chinese barbecue vegetables. On rice. So give that a go. It actually takes 20 minutes to do, maybe 30 with you a little bit before and after preparation assembly, but it's a lovely dish. Give it a go. Just by the way, before you shut off, I've done it with the black bean and garlic sauce here, garlic paste. You can also do it with plum sauce. You can do it with any of those other Chinese sauces. Bake it in the oven for the 20 minutes and they're all yum. Give it a go.